Now that we've created all of the components we'll need to assemble the final cabinet assembly, we'll move on to some of the sub-assemblies that we can use to make our life easier in terms of making the final assembly. To do this, I suggest you copy any remaining components from Lab 2 that we'll be using in Lab 3. Copy it from the Lab 2 folder into your Lab 3 folder, because when SolidWorks opens up assemblies, if you don't have the part files necessary for those assemblies, if you don't have them in the same folder as the assembly, and you've moved the components from where they were in their last location, you might run into some errors. So to simplify this, just select your hinge A, hinge B, hinge pin, and fastener pin, and copy those from your Lab 2 folder into your new Lab 3 folder. So you'll see here hinge A, hinge B, hinge pin, and fastener pin. I have all those. Then we'll open up a new assembly file. And we'll select hinge A for our base part. Then we'll insert component and select hinge B and place that in space. And quickly rotate this. Now we'll insert the hinge pin and place that in space. And rotate that. Then we'll mate the cylinder of hinge B with the cylinder of hinge A. Press OK. We'll select the faces for our coincident mates and press OK. Then we'll select the shaft of our pin and the shaft of our hinge. Then the faces and press OK. Now while we're here, we'll insert the fastener pins. So we'll insert one of them. We'll mate the shaft to the hole in the hinge. Then we'll select the faces. Press OK. Now I'll select my fastener pin. I'll right click and click copy with mates. It's going to ask me which pin or which item. I'll select the fastener pin here. Then it's going to ask for the concentric mate. I'll pick the cylinder here in our next hole. Then I'll pick the face for our coincident mate. Press OK. I'll pick this cylinder here for the next pin, and I'll press the face, then the cylinder and the face. Now I have the 4 fastener pins and the hinge pin with the 2 hinges all together. I'll click File, Save As, and label this as hinge assembly. Once that's saved, I'll create a new assembly by creating new assembly. Now I'm going to place my hinge assembly in space, and I'm going to insert our new door, so cabinet door 2. So I'll drop that there. Now I'm going to mate. Now I find it's easiest to make these mates work by opening up the hinge assembly and hiding the fastener pins. So select the 4 fastener pins and just click hide components, because the fastener pins at this point are just placeholders. They're not necessary for mating. We can just use the reference geometry in the hinges themselves, and that's exactly what I'll do. I'll also right click my hinge assembly and click float, because I want to be able to move this hinge, and I'm going to right click the door and click fix, because I want my door to be the base part. To double check, just make sure that your cabinet door has the F and that your hinge assembly has the dash line. Now I will move my assembly with the triad. And I'm going to mate the cylinders of the holes to the cylinders of the door. You can see here I have the wrong mate, or I have the right mate but the wrong direction. I'll just flip my alignment by scrolling down in the mate dialog box. Press OK. I'll select the next cylinder and then press OK. Now I'll drag my hinge away from the door, pick the two faces, and press OK. Now that my hinge is made to the door, I'll right click the whole hinge assembly and click copy with mates. Click next, and I'll specify my geometry. Press OK. Now I'll go back to my original hinge assembly. I'll select my 4 fastener pins and I'll click show components. And now I'll save this new assembly as door assembly. And there's our 2 sub-assemblies for Lab 3.